Welcome back. You are tuned into the Labor Forum here at WRFG 89.3 FM in Atlanta. Again, the two co-hosts are myself, Diane Mathowitz, and Paul McLennan. And in the middle, between us at the interview desk, is William Flannigan. He is president, as I mentioned earlier, of the Postal Workers Union, Local 32 here in Atlanta. Hi.
Hello.
Now, this is very personal. Should I call you William or Bill?
William.
Will.
Flannigan really is
Or
weird.
people who call you Flannigan. All right, but we want to be friendly here.
Okay.
All right, so thank you so much for taking the time to be on the program. As I mentioned, we haven't had anybody from the Postal Workers Union for many, many months. We do get, every week, we get your Staples schedule of where you're picketing. So for our listeners, perhaps if you wouldn't mind, give us just a few sentences about what the Staples campaign is, and for people who are watching or do watch, they will see that Flannigan is wearing a t-shirt which says "Stop Staples, the U.S. mail is not for sale."
Yes, indeed. And basically, Staples, I think it was 2012 when they originally came across a deal with the Postal Service to incorporate a post office inside Staples. They did this without the negotiation with the union, which we felt was a violation. And they basically was trying to save money and costs on labor by utilizing Staples employees. So
I don't know what they make, but I'm guessing not much more than minimum wage.
yeah, definitely not what a postal employee makes. And the salary, of course, of a postal employee is not just because of the work they do, but also because of sanctions that we take in terms of being a postal employee and making sure that mail is safe to go across the states. We get a lot of extensive training, and that training is not passed on to Staples employees. Plus, with Staples employees, the mail is not their first priority. The work that Staples has is. As a result, because this was a secret deal between the post office as well as the Staples organization, we began to do a lot of protesting, where we went out and we protested in front of different Staples stores, and we continue to do that today.
All right, so I know that, as you mentioned, this was a violation of the contract, that they just essentially outsourced your work, and then of course to people who don't have the same sort of training nor take the same oath of office that you do as well, and that there's a hearing that's been going on in front of the National Labor Relations Board. Do you have any information about those hearings, like where it's going?
Yeah, originally the hearing started back in November of last year, and the hearings came about mainly because of the fact that the Staples organization had mounds of paperwork that they had in this deal. They refused to share it with the post office or with the union rather. And when we did get copies, they actually blacked everything out. So we actually had to do a labor board charge. And when we went to the labor board, they of course instructed the Postal Service to provide the documents. We did get those documents in January of this year. And when we got the documents in the hearing, they actually had about 411 pages that they had under confidential scrutiny. So we had to actually have the judge rule based on going through it that yes, the post office did have some language in those documents that geared toward them reducing labor costs and utilizing other facilities to perform labor at a cheaper cost. So the last hearing that I'm aware of was February 24th, in which we had a one witness, our manager over the contract administrator, Phil Tobito, to testify about the problems that you have with those documents, because like I said, they allow the Postal Service to operate with less funds in terms of paying employees, not having the oath of office that we have, not really being trained and recognizing mail that may be dangerous. There are certain things you can't mail, such as batteries, liquids, and where postal employees are trained to recognize that, Staples employees are not.
That's, to follow up on that, this question of safety in terms of the community, could you say a little more about why it matters so much that qualified people are handling our mail?
Well, yeah, the main thing is you want your mail to get where it's going, for one. With the post office, we deliver to every door. As long as you got an address, we're going there. Staples don't have to do that, nor any other entity that they may use to have this makeshift post office. When it comes to the safety, if you're mailing things such as drugs, like I said, batteries, liquid gas, and things of that nature, if a Staples employees or any employee that is not postal, that's not trained to recognize that, then you have a danger there. We've had things such as Amtrak's come through the mail where you open the letter and then powder jumps out on postal employees. So, you want to prevent and have as little of those kind of things to happen. And the best way to do it is to have trained people. I don't think we're any different than any other entity. When you go into certain stores, maybe, you'll find that they have different businesses inside the store, but they don't use the store employees as those employees. They have their own. And the reason is because you want your personnel to have the training to do the job that you want them to do, and to do it under the guidelines that you set forth. And the Postal Service is no different. You should want qualified people there that you've trained, given the extensive training to reach what they need to do. We also have what we call a postal support employee. That's a lower wage, because we have 3-tier wage salaries at the post office. That's a lower wage employee that they could have put in those makeshift post offices. And you would still have a person who had the training. Their main goal would have been to watch the mail, to secure the mail, and make sure the mail get to where it needs to go. Also to give you the best way to get it there.
And let me just say another thing, Staples, there's so many stores that sell products, retail big box stores that are now going out of business, or they're cutting back the number of stores that they operate, and Staples is one of them. So it seemed to me as well that one of the things the post office management has done is it has closed many neighborhood post offices, and then apparently tried to put a desk, where people could get butt stamps and have their mail weighed so that they could go there. But what happens if that Staples store is the store that the Staples management decides to close, and then this neighborhood, this community, oftentimes in small towns, has nothing?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because actually that's one of the, and I'm going to say reality is supposed to fear, because Staples, since their inception with the Postal Service, they have closed offices. And unlike a post office, because the Postal Service actually have closed and consolidated post offices themselves. But in doing so, they have to involve the community. And the community have an opportunity for input into how it's going on. When they put this makeshift post office inside Staples, they don't have to go through that. All Staples has to do is say, hey, we're closing, effective today, boom. And they have done that. And the post office closes with it. So here it is again. You have this makeshift post office that you are expecting to go to buy stamps, money orders, or whatever it is they're selling. But when you get there, boom, right out the box, it's closed. Because Staples don't have to go through anything.
So we just have a couple minutes left, so I want to make sure that people are aware, because they may drive around and they will see these bright blue shirts and the Stop Staples, and to know what's going on, because you all picket stores in a huge circumference around Atlanta, and there's a weekly posting. Is it put on your website?
It is put on, well, we actually don't have an actual website, but it is disseminated to different places and different people who we have email addresses for. And the whole concept with us still picketing, the employees that are doing it with flyers that explain everything about what's going on with Staples, the fact that the Postal Service is non-profit, that we often operate on our own monies, and any information that they want to, it also direct them to a website that they can, if they feel free to go to it, they can go and look at it and support us.
I want to say that one of the things is the WRFG Labor Forum website will now start posting your schedule, and we will try to figure out other kinds of ways that we can let folks know through the social media that the Labor Forum has. We only have a couple minutes left. I want to ask you, because you are also in negotiations now over your contract. This is the contract that the management of the post office violated when it set up the Staples contract. So how are these negotiations going? What are the big issues?
Well, right now, we just started the negotiation. It started on February 17th. And currently, the economical or the political issues are at stake, or what we're discussing. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 3-tier pay scale where we have employees who basically perform the same work, but they get 3 different levels of salary. So that's something that we're trying to fix. We also have our no layoff clause. We're actually the only union that has a no layoff clause. The post office is trying to take that away, of course. They're trying to stop our COLAs, and we are trying to get a workforce, because we got, like I said, the PSEs. They're non-career, so we're trying to increase them and give them better opportunity to become career.
I want just to say one more thing. The post office, again, I have to say, if I could give a shout out to my own postal carrier, he is one of the most generous, kind, wonderful, does such a great job, works so late in the night. I have seen him out delivering mail after 8 o'clock. And I know this again is a result of the speed up of the putting together more doors, more mailboxes for him to deliver mail to, as they've cut back on the number of workers. Could you mention, if you have the figure, how many people the post office has already eliminated in the last couple of years?
Now, I don't know an exact number, but they actually got rid of people a couple of ways. A normal attrition when people retire, quit, or whatever. And then they also gave out some early outs. Nationwide, we probably had more than 10,000 people that have reduced or more.
And I just want to say, again, this is a union job. This is a job that every person, as you said, who has an address, has a relationship to this worker. And this is a service that is so absolutely necessary for every person.
It is.
So I want to thank you so much, William Flannigan, for being here today. We always love having you.
I love being here. Thank you.
All right, so again, folks, if you've just tuned in, you are tuned into the Labor Forum. You were hearing William Flannigan, who's the president of the American Postal Workers Union, Local 32 here in Atlanta, talking about this campaign around Staples and the campaign to save postal worker jobs. And we will be right back with our next guest, Jeff Halper, who is here, and we'll be talking about the situation of workers in Palestine, in occupied Palestine, and the condition of workers in Israel. Hold on and stay tuned.